Have you ever felt that you could spend hours scrolling through social media, playing video games, but when it comes to doing something productive, you are just not able to get it done? Back when I was a teenager, my life was a complete mess. I would spend most of my day lazing around, binge watching shows on Netflix, and procrastinating anything that required effort. Also, I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer back then. Got bullied for that. I wonder why. But that is not how my story ends. Fast forward to today and I am now one of the most disciplined versions of myself. I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, I lift weights, I train martial arts, I read books and run a business. And most importantly, I have been doing these things consistently for years. Still cannot get that USB in the first try though. Around 6 years ago, I decided to fix my life and no longer live that unproductive life anymore. Over this period, I've read hundreds of self-help books, studied the lives of some of the most disciplined people on earth, and spent a whole bunch of time learning about how the human mind works. In this video, I'm going to condense 6 years of work into 3 actionable protocols that are going to transform you into someone who is highly disciplined, highly productive, and become someone who has a bunch of friends. Okay, maybe not the last part. Don't know how to do that either.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The best part is that once you truly follow these protocols, being productive is going to feel as easy as scrolling. Back when my life was a mess, I used to be a slave to instant pleasure. As soon as I would wake up, I would check my notifications. I would scroll through Reddit for a good 20 minutes. And then I wouldn't even brush my teeth. I would just crawl out of bed and eat a bowl full of sugary cereal. Now there might be a voice in your head saying,
"These things are pretty harmless. Most people do them all the time." But the truth is...
But the truth is that as soon as you pick up your phone and give yourself this dose of quick pleasure from scrolling, or eat something that is highly processed, you have now actually ruined the rest of your day. For the rest of the day, your brain is going to act like a pleasure-seeking machine. I would then just lie on the couch scrolling or playing video games for hours. And even though I internally wanted to work hard, but I just could not get myself moving. And this is the biggest problem with instant pleasure. When you give yourself instant pleasure through fast food, scrolling, pornography, video games, then your body loses its ability to work hard. It now knows that pleasure is available at your fingertips, so why bother working hard? Like imagine this person playing video games for 3 hours straight. He's in this highly stimulating fantasy world where he has status, super cool equipment and powers. But then after this gaming session, someone asks him to read a book on philosophy. Just a bunch of black text on white paper. So he's now going to find reading incredibly boring, because his benchmark for what counts as pleasure has been changed by video games. So one of the first changes that I started making in my life was that I started eliminating all these sources of instant pleasure. I made a list of all the things that I knew were not really good for me, no matter how fun they seemed at the moment. I then made a plan to remove all these things from my life. Now it wasn't as easy as just writing them down and crossing them. The process of quitting these things was incredibly challenging, because years of numbing yourself with instant pleasure has made you lose your ability to say no to things. You are now permanently stuck in this comfort zone. The way that I got my willpower back was by voluntarily doing things that made me uncomfortable. The first thing that I did was fasting. Fasting is when you do not eat food for a certain period of time. When you fast, you are basically training your mind to say no to something as fundamental as food. After fasting for a couple of weeks and really building that willpower, it got a lot easier for me to quit activities that gave me instant pleasure. Whoa, hey! Fun fact, I actually fasted for between 16 to 20 hours a day, and that seemed to be the most effective duration for me. Just thought you should know this. I will see myself out now. The second most powerful tool that I used was meditation. My life back then was just filled with stimulation everywhere. Meditation is the complete opposite of that. You have no visual stimulation, no audio stimulation. You do not even have the stimulation of your own thoughts. With meditation, you are now actually teaching your mind not to be this quick pleasure-seeking machine. And the best part is that once you get used to living this raw life without any excessive stimulation, activities that you once thought were too boring now seem a lot more interesting. And once you're genuinely interested in doing something, then it becomes effortless. The last and probably the most effective tool that I used was cold showers. In the past, whenever I felt anxious or stressed out, I would just numb myself with instant pleasure. But then this made made my anxiety worse in the long run. And I needed more of this quick pleasure to feel normal again. The good news is that you can actually train yourself not to be anxious and stressed, just the way that you would train a muscle. And cold showers are the perfect way to train your nervous system to be more tolerant of stress and anxiety. Now, when you do cold showers, you are going to feel anxious and stressed. I'm the man. I can do this. Of course I can do this.
A few moments later.
Just the way you would feel uncomfortable when you're lifting heavy weights. But after lifting that heavy weight, you get stronger, and now all the other weights feel lighter. Just like that, once you have experienced the stress of cold showers, all other minor stresses don't seem to bother you anymore. Hey, I'm back again. You don't need to spend hours in the cold shower. A simple 2 to 3 minute long shower in reasonably cold temperatures should do the trick. Back when I was living a chaotic life, believe it or not, I still had goals. I wanted to get top tier grades, I wanted to be strong, I wanted to be really articulate. But despite having these goals, this amazing final destination, I never really had a path to reach this destination. I would just wake up and do things impulsively. If I wanted to sleep at 2 AM, I would do it. If I wanted to lie down on the couch and scroll all day, I would do it. But when you live life purely based on your mood, then you are much more likely to give into things that give you quick pleasure. And you're much more likely to procrastinate the things that require effort. Once I understood this, that is when I started living my life based on a system. A system is a predetermined way of doing things. Systems are that clear path that will lead you to your goals. The most important kind of system that I had set in my life was a routine. I had put all the essential tasks that I needed to do in a day into my routine. Now, these were not just a bunch of random tasks. I actually asked myself this question: what are the things that I need to do every single day in order to hit my goals? And whatever the answer to that question was, I started adding it to my routine. But here is something really important. Next to each task was the specific time at which I would be doing the task. Because without having a specific time for a task, you are constantly going to be spending energy making decisions about what you should be doing at the moment. With the proper system, I was no longer just a leaf floating through the wind, living life impulsively. I now knew when I needed to eat, when I needed to sleep, when I needed to study. And when you follow the system day in, day out, then all of a sudden, all the activities on your routine begin to feel effortless. Because your body is now just so used to doing them. But there is just one problem. Scrolling has ruined your attention span. Most people cannot focus for more than 10 minutes without zoning out. And without having a good attention span, it's hard to do anything productive. So make sure that you watch this video to fix your attention span.